Yes. Good evening and welcome everyone. We will start our session very shortly. Please let us know if you can see and hear us well on the chat. If you could please send a message on the chat. Just to signal whether you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you, Chadi. My name is Eduardo Lima. I am a faculty lecturer and academic program coordinator at the McGill's School of Continuing Studies. Welcome, bienvenue, Seko, Tansi, Tungasugit. Today we are gathered in Tiohtià:ke, also known as Montreal, the traditional territory of indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations. McGill honors, recognizes, and respects these nations as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters from which we host today's event, in the spirit of the Longhouse, or gathering place, that used to bring people from all over together in Kanien'kehá:ka. Welcome to the webinar, the information session on the Diploma in Professional Practice in Finance. Before we start, I would like to share a few tips for you to better enjoy this session. If you have a VPN, please disconnect from it. You don't need it for this meeting, and you can close unnecessary applications. By default, your microphone has been muted. Please ask your questions using the chat function. We can keep it on the chat just to keep it simple. You don't need to use the Q&A section. Please note that this session is being recorded, and I will start sharing my presentation. Put it in presentation mode. Yes, and here you have a picture of a graduate of the diploma program, and we have a number of them. This number has been growing every year. The diploma is already 4 years in its existence. So we already talked about the game plan. This is me. I'd like to just say a few words about myself. I am a faculty lecturer, as I said, and academic program coordinator in the School of Continuing Studies at McGill University. I'm responsible for developing the finance programming at the school, including the Diploma in Professional Practice in Finance, as well as the McGill CFA workshops. Before joining McGill in 2018, I had a 17-year career as a consultant with pension plans and other institutional investors, having worked for consulting firms such as Towers Perrin, at the time, now called Willis Towers Watson, Mercer, Eckler, and Murnau Chappell, it's now called LifeWorks. I hold an MBA in finance from McGill University and a PhD in physics from University of Pennsylvania, and I am a CFA Charterholder. So the agenda for today is very simple. We discussed a little bit about the CFA program, and for sure I would be very interested in having you participate in the chat, and I will try to make some visits to the chat box to see your comments. But I will assume that you do not know a whole lot about the CFA program, but you are interested in finance and you may be interested in pursuing a finance program. When we'll see how the CFA program relates to all of this. So I will start talking a little bit about the CFA program because the CFA program, it's today and for a number of years now, essentially the most important certification for professionals in finance. So the CFA Institute is the professional association that gathers professionals in the fields of finance and investments and puts forth a whole package, right? A program, a training program for these professionals, codes of ethics and standards of professional conduct, for these professionals. So they organize the professionals, and it's an international association, and it's present pretty much in all corners of the world, of course, with different weights in different places. It started off in North America. It's been very prominent in the United States and in Canada, in Europe to a lesser extent, and it's been growing like crazy in Asia, specifically in China. So the numbers are staggering for the CFA program. And it's really a very reputable certification in one's resume or in one's title. So I did follow the program myself throughout my experience. I'd be happy to share some of that experience with you a little bit too. But the attainment of the CFA designation is kind of viewed as a holy grail of finance, and it's international, so it's very portable, and it's viewed as a very positive feature of this enterprise, because to get there, to attain the designation involves certain path. And by all means, it's not the only possible goal for someone who's interested in finance. So the CFA program is there. It's important to understand what it is. It may be for you, it may not be for you, but it's important that you understand what it is. And if it's not for you, and whether you are if you want to work in the financial services industry, you don't necessarily have to have that designation. There are other designations, in fact, that you may have, or you may want to have, or none, but just work in some kind of support role that where the designation is not required for that role, for that position. So there's many possibilities for sure, right? But so the diploma in professional practice in finance, the program that we are here to talk about today, is a program that looks very much like the CFA program, and it doesn't, of course, we don't hide that fact. On the contrary, we call attention to this fact as a differentiator of our program, in the sense that something that's unique about the diploma is that we teach the CFA program in the classroom, even if it's a virtual classroom, but we do teach the material in the classroom, and we have the instructors who are CFA Charterholders, who are sharing their experience. The courses that they will be teaching will be related to the work that they have been done in their practice. So hence the word practice in the title of the program. So this is my introductory remark. I see that I don't have any comments on the chat at this point, but feel free to add any questions at any time, and I'll be just looking. We can make this, we don't have to make this very formal. So the next slide has a word cloud. You may have seen this concept of a word cloud. It's part of new technology type of data treatment when you have big data, and we can try to analyze data that's not even provided in very standardized format. It's just text. Imagine, and we do have access to so much data today with the computing power that we have. So technology is one direction of revolution in the industry in general, including in finance, by the way. But word cloud is really like how often each word is found in a given text. If it's a huge text, maybe books and books, maybe this is like the CFA program or something. This could be very well, not exactly maybe, but this could be very well the word cloud for the CFA program. You see words there that repeat. So the more frequent a word is, the bigger it's going to appear in the word cloud. That's kind of how it works. But here you see lots of words that relate to finance. And so that's kind of a nice picture to represent the CFA program. But really what I'd like to do is to go go out of this presentation. So we'll leave this presentation very, very soon. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to be sharing again. But next time I'll be sharing the screen on the CFA Institute website. So we'll spend a few minutes on that website, and then we're going to come back to this presentation again. On the next page, we're going to see information about the diploma professional practice in finance. So this is a preview of what's going to come next. Once we're going to open a parenthesis here, we're going to leave, go in the website, and then we're going to come back to this presentation again. But when we come back, we're going to see information about the diploma, professional practice in finance, and we're going to see some list of courses, and I'll talk a little bit about how they relate to the CFA program. We'll talk about exam support, scholarships that are available to students in the diploma. And we'll talk a little bit about admission requirements. You might have questions about that. I'll try to answer. My role is more academic than administrative, but I'll try to help if you have questions on admissions. This is my contact information, and we're going to end there. But just so you know, this is what's to come next. This is not a very long presentation, but I'd like to spend a few minutes with you in the CFA program website. Just before we go there, in the word cloud, I think this word cloud was done a long time ago because it didn't include any words such as fintech, crypto assets, machine learning. So it's not a very modern word cloud. Neither does it include some of the keywords that are very current today in the world of finance, such as ESG for environmental, social, and governance issues when deciding on investments. And responsible investing is another way to think about that. Right? So these are the two main trends in finance that we are certainly very open to continuing to explore these topics throughout the program as well. And we guarantee that it's done because the CFA program on which we are very much based evolves in time, and it gets updated almost every year. And so we update together with the CFA program. So it's a win-win situation to be affiliated with the CFA Institute. So let me stop sharing. And I think there is a question on the chat. Yes, Chadi, you are USA, you are American CPA, so an accountant, the old school paper-based exams. Appreciate if you can tell me how the CFA exams are being conducted. Yes, so the CFA exams today are conducted computer-based. So the paper-based finished. It was around the pandemic time. I think the pandemic accelerated the move towards computer-based. They were going to do more staggered, but then all of a sudden, all three levels today are done in the computer. The exam frequency, let's take a look. We're going to go in there. For the ESG, which certification do you recommend? That's a good question. Let's take a look. Let me stop sharing this page. Excuse me, and then I will start sharing Firefox. So when you first go to CFA Institute website, you will see the picture is going to change every time you come. So here you see this gentleman, and you have the on the top menu, the bar here on the menu, you have programs, memberships, societies, ethics and standards, advocacy, research and analysis, about, and so on. You can log in if you are a member or a candidate of the CFA Institute. You can create an account and so on. So if you look at programs, you see all the programs that exist. You see there is a certificate in ESG investing. You were asking the question just now. And so CFA Institute started offering a certificate. It's a very short program in ESG. It's not like a CFA program. The CFA program is CFA program is kind of equivalent to a master's degree, right? So it's kind of equivalent. If you have the CFA, you could have also a master's. Like myself, I did an MBA, so there's a master's degree, and I did the CFA because I felt at the time in my career that CFA designation would be very important for me to be competitive in the job market, and it turned out that it helped a lot. So these are two different things, but they're around the same level of effort, maybe level of difficulty is comparable, CFA and a master. The ESG certificate is really more like a course on the undergraduate level. It's not like a very tough thing, but it's valuable. It is valuable, even more valuable, if you have some other studies in finance that support whatever work that you're going to be doing. You have a ESG extra there with you, so that's kind of nice. Um, Certainly, McGill is looking to partner always with CFA Institute. So we are looking, at maybe offering some courses as well, to the extent that there is market, there are people interested in doing this. Right now we are looking at fintech programming. Because fintech is such an important trend as well in the job market, and people need education in these current and new trends. So we do have a societal mission to fulfill there too. Yeah, so you can spend and you should, if you're really interested, like seriously interested in studying finance, you should spend some time on this website. Of course, we will not spend that amount of time here together because we have limited time, but I wanted to make sure that you saw this and you can click on any of these. So you see here, apply for a scholarship. So I wanted to talk about this because within here, programs, so there are other type of programs. There's CIPM program. It's more like for performance measurement. So these are slightly different types of programs. You should definitely explore the different programs, and in particular, the CFA program, which is the one that gives you the three letters CFA after your name as a designation. That means a lot in the job market. It means a lot in terms of um, communicating to investments or investors, the client, ultimate clients, because you will be working for, let's say, a pension, not necessarily for pension, for any type of investor. You may be working for an asset manager that manages money for investors, right? So you select stocks or bonds or any other type of asset to invest, and you put that into a fund, kind of a mutual fund, and then you package it and you send units, you sell units to these investors. It can be institutional investors or individual investors. That's the buy side, right? And you are like in the middle here because you're packaging these assets into units, and you are maybe working for this company. You are responsible to select those investments. The job market for this type of role is very healthy, um, and so the designation is important to communicate the level, um, not only the quality level of the work that you do, because to go through the CFA program, it does require that you really get organized and make sure that you really learn the concepts, because the test is it's not that it's really tough, but it's tough enough that you need to be on top of your game. Um, and the ethical components. See, there's a whole section here on the ethics and standards. If you click here, you see everything that's in there. You have the code of ethics and standards of professional conduct, and a lot of things about the topic in terms of ethics, industry standards. The ESG standards, they have to do with ethics, of course, because that's responsible investing too. Professional conduct program. If you are a member of the CFA, so if you do have the designation, you have the duty. You have to abide by the standards of professional conduct. So if you, what happens if someone violates the standards? So that's important to know. And in fact, this is actually covered in the program, in the CFA program, in all three levels. There is a part of the exam that's covering ethics. So ethics is really taken very seriously. And before we look at the program, I just wanted to show you the, I think it's under memberships. Yes, it's under about. University affiliation program. I wanted to show you this because McGill participates in this program. So we are affiliated with the CFA Institute. We're going to be listed. And what this entails is that the benefits for participating in the university affiliation program are very good. So you're going to see McGill here, but I'm not going to go through the whole list. I was doesn't list here. There's somewhere else, but what happens is the scholarship that you can apply for, we are allotted a number of scholarships because of our affiliation with CFA Institute in the university affiliation program. So McGill University is awarded, or our students can be awarded an allotment of scholarships, which are valuable because if you're serious about writing CFA exams, you can get substantial savings in terms of paying only a fraction of the exam registration fees, which are sizable for most people. So you will see in the scholarships, there's a number of scholarships, but the one you're talking about here is a student scholarship. The student scholarship is for students that are currently attending an affiliated university, see, and have not yet registered for their next exam. So before you register for your next exam, make sure that you look at the scholarship. If you are attending the program, you are eligible to this. And it's very good. So it's a very good attractive in our program, which also helps with the CFA program too. So if you are studying, might as well write the CFA exam at some point while you are in the diploma program and participate in that way. So when you become, how to become a charter holder, you have to pass the 3 exams, 3 levels. That's number 1. Then you have to have some work experience. It used to be around 4 years. I think it's still 4 years. But it doesn't have to be 4 years like straight, so you can grab aspects, but it has to have related, it must be related to investment decision making. But yes, I see. Okay, how much does it cost to get the material? Okay, so Chadi, your question about CFA program. So let's say that you decide to write the CFA exam and you say, okay, how much do I have to pay? What is the material that I get? And what else do I need to pay, right? So so you're gonna go here on the website and you say, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to look at this stuff later, work experience in time, it's going to take me a few years to write the exams. I'm going to start working at some point, or I already work like yourself if you are an accountant. It's fine. I have to pass the exams and I need to pay for the exams. And maybe if I have a scholarship, even better, but how much are these? You saw there in the scholarship, the exam fee, it gets reduced to $350 US dollars. Without the scholarship, it depends if you register early in the normal period or late. So the price will change as you get late in the date for the exam that you're sitting. Of course, you can always say, no, I'm gonna write the next exam. So actually, I'm early, so I can pay a lower fee. So you can definitely do that, but you have to plan for when you write your exam. So you make a registration. If you have a scholarship, it doesn't really matter because you did not register. You applied for the scholarship and you only pay the $350 US. which is what's left once the scholarship is applied. There is also a registration fee that's one time. Before you write the first exam, you have to pay the first exam, but you also have to pay this one enrollment kind of enrollment fee. I'm not sure how much it is, but we can look. So this is all that you pay to the CFA Institute if you decide to go ahead with the CFA program. So, right, this has nothing to do with McGill University. But of course, we are, like I said, we are affiliated with the CFA Institute, and the students who are in our program can also benefit even further from their participation in the CFA program. So it's kind of going together. We support the student. Essentially, we teach the material in the classroom. So that's what kind of the vision of the Diploma Professional Practice in Finance. Let's look here again and look at the explore the curriculum. If you want to register, if you go here in register, I think they're going to tell you the price. So let's go in register. Enroll and register. I'm not sure if you're going to get the price here, because I think you have to maybe create an account and stuff. I'm not going to do that right now because, yeah, that's it. My account already exists, and I'm already a member. So this is not going to really work just to go through here. Oh, but here they talk about it. Yes. See, effective, that's inflation already. The prices will increase from 700 to 900 for early ready. So it's essentially it's increasing $200, which is bad news. But there's a good news. The initial enrollment fee decreases, interestingly, $100. So they don't talk about the impact of inflation on the scholarship, but I would assume that if you have the scholarship, you still only pay $350. I'm not sure if that's going to go up to 450 or something, but nothing here is talking about that. And we just saw under the scholarships that you pay 350. So it adds up, huh? $1,000 essentially. If you register early, you are paying 1,000 Canadian or more for each one of the three levels. So what are the levels? So explore the curriculum. You can also look at exam overview. Keeping the curriculum relevant and rigorous. So this is really important, and McGill just follows this pretty closely so that we keep it also relevant and rigorous. The curriculum topics are listed here. There's essentially 10 topics for all three levels, but each level is going to have a different amount of material from each of these topics. That's how it works. Learn more about the exam. So let's go in there. Exams that evolve in complexity, levels 1, 2, and 3. It changes in a number of things, right? And they have to be done in order. So here you see level 1, you have to meet some of enrollment requirements. You have to have a bachelor degree or be close to finishing your bachelor degree. So that's an important requirement. It's a requirement for the CFA Institute, for the CFA program. The Diploma Professional Practice in Finance, we also have some requirements for admission, and they're covered in the presentation. We're going to go there in just a few minutes. But once you do that, you can do level 1, and only after passing level 1, you can do level 3. And only after passing level 2, you can do level 3. I think you understood what I wanted to say. The question format also changes. So it starts with just multiple choice, then it goes on to including multiple choice, but blocks of multiple choice with a situation that's kind of called a vignette. And then on level 3, essay questions are also added to the mix. The exam results are available a couple of months after taking the exam, which is typically seen as a pain to be waiting for the results. It's better to forget about and then wait. And if you prepared well, you just wait and be relaxed because chances are you're passing your exam. The pass rate, unfortunately, is not that high, but it's been around 40%. There has been a dip in the last year or so. The pandemic must have had an impact on that, but it dipped to around 20%. But it seems like it's coming back to the average 40%. And it grows with the levels, which makes sense because level one filters out a lot of people that end up either giving up or finally learning what it takes to pass. And then once they get level one, then they go on to get level two, already knowing themselves. So you need to know yourself to know how to study well and to learn. And that's what we do at McGill is learning. So look at all of this stuff and say, I want to learn this thing, and I want to keep learning it myself. Let me share now the screen. Let's go back to the presentation. Here we are. So we are participant in the university affiliated program of the CFA Institute. And this diploma is intended to allow students to develop competencies that will be recognized internationally in the job, in the workplace, and help with their careers, help with the ultimately help with society by providing education to finance professionals. We take this very seriously as the CFA Institute. You saw how much information there is about ethics, and we didn't cover a lot of that. I didn't spend any time, but as you explore this more, you will see how serious this is about doing the right things. And so that's what we do. It's designed to provide the training in these competencies, the techniques, and specific expertise required to become successful professionals in various fields related to finance, such as, and this is just a small list. You can go into the details on these different roles. Equity and credit research, portfolio management, corporate finance, commercial or investment banking, regulatory compliance, investment risk management. I myself, in my career, I would have been, mostly related to the second and the last on this list: portfolio management and investment risk management. But I was working as a consultant, so I was also essentially, there was a lot of relationship management in the role. In that, the asset managers who wanted to sell their products to the institutional investors who were their clients, but also my clients, the consultants' clients, because the consultants are hired by them to actually help them select what the investments should be, how the portfolio should be put together according to their specifics. If they're a pension plan, they have liabilities, they have benefits to pay in the future, and so understanding those liabilities it will be important for designing their investment portfolio. So they hire consultants to do this type of work. So that's kind of how I fit in there. But then I needed to be educated on the available products for these types of investors. And so a lot of information was flowing from the asset managers who wanted to market their products. And there was a lot of education going on in terms of the specific investment strategies that are followed. So it's very interesting field, but that's just one example. And there's so many other areas in finance that you could play a role. And this program is actually suitable for an education that would cover essentially all of these careers. And if you're looking at, no, but I want to do something that's really like on the edge, like ESG or fintech, I want to do these, and I would say sure. I mean, you should definitely try to find a program in those areas too, and see what is the path that you want to trace. You may need to understand the basics of finance at some point, right? Either right before, during, at the same time, or right after. See what makes the most sense. And we are actually doing this work as well at McGill as we develop our programming. So we are looking at developing programming in fintech, which can be kind of kind of a module that couples right after the diploma professional practice in finance. So this is in the works, but very interesting stuff. This is a list of courses in the diploma. There are some prerequisite and co-requisite courses. Those may seem to be, oh, why do we have to do those? They don't count towards the 30 credits, but we still have to do them. You may actually be exempted from having to take them, but under strict conditions. You may have to take an exam to be exempted. If you master that information already, you should not have to take the course again. But those courses are really important. They will lay the foundation of some of the work that is done throughout the program. So they will deal with statistics, for example, or economics, and they're actually part of the CFA program, right? So the two co-requisites, they're in green here. They are specifically part of level one. The red ones, they are more or less related. And ethics is in actually all three. There is a course, professional ethics, ethical practices here. The first of the 10 required courses, the CFA 500, only 1.5 credits. That's the ethics material that's included in the CFA program. So we cover this in the classroom as well. We do quizzes and we do discussions. In this course, there's material that is actually in all three exams. But otherwise, whatever is in green here would be included in level one, and some of that in level two as well. But if you have to wait until all material from level one has been seen in courses, you would go through the green to the green courses. And of course, the yellow ones here in the bottom are on the top are the more fundamental courses. Financial modeling is a course that is not specifically covered in the CFA exams, but financial modeling is so important that we wanted to give it, have at least a 1.5 credit course as an introduction to financial modeling, so people, get all at the same level in, knowing how to do some modeling in Excel. It's not advanced financial modeling, but it's an introductory financial modeling course that students tend to enjoy a lot. And current operations in global financial markets, the third course here in yellow on the required courses, is also not exactly the CFA material, but it's an extremely important overview of the financial system. And it's a markets and institutions type of course that is also very popular in different programs around the world, and we use a very good and popular textbook for this course. So it's really good course too. Everything else here is part of the CFA exams, including the co-requisite courses. So I hope you find these titles interesting and exciting. If that's the case, it's a good sign that you may, finance may be something that you should look more into. We already talked about exam support. If you, a student in the Diploma Professional Practice in Finance is eligible to receive CFA student scholarships. We have a number of these per year, so we are generously awarded these scholarships. So it's great to take advantage of this. Admission requirements for the diploma program: bachelor's degree, and some minimum GPA, cumulative GPA. Some exceptions sometimes are possible, but with some conditions as well. If you're considering, you should look into whether you meet these requirements and then move forward with it. There's English language requirements as well. Some requirements to be provided, letters of reference. Here's my contact information. Please take a note of my email. If you need to talk to me, here's my phone number. And I guess I will. Oh, I see that there is another question on the chat. Chadi is asking, don't you see that the appetite for the CFA certificate shows regression after the 2008 financial crisis, or am I mistaken? I love this question, but I'm going to show you some data. I'm going to stop sharing here. Oops, stop sharing. This is such a nice question. Thank you for asking. CFA data. I'm gonna share an Excel spreadsheet because I've been looking at this data and I'm actually. I'll show you the graph because the numbers is hard to see. Let's see, WebEx, share, and I'll share Excel here. Okay. So sorry, this is not well formatted for the presentation, but look at these are the numbers. 2008. So, oh, by the way, the CFA program is in existence since 1963, I believe. We can look at the data if I scroll up here. 1963, right? I did not put all those years on the graph. Here's the graph. I started the graph in 1993. Look at the numbers here. 1993, you had around 6,000, 7,000 people doing level 1, 4,000 people doing level 2, 2.5 thousand doing level 3, and then it grows year after year. Interestingly, 2003 to 2004, there's a little dip, but here we are already at 20,000 people per year, 50,000 doing level 1, 20,000 doing level 2, 13,000 doing level 3 around the world. And then it continues growing. 2008, what happens between 2007 and 2008? It goes up by a lot. We are already over 100,000 people total per year. And we reached 200,000 in 2018, 2017. 200,000 per year. Of course, with the pandemic, everything shut down. 2020, there was no exam administration, so this number couldn't be high at all. 2021 it's picked up. We still don't have 2022 numbers. They're not available. But I think this is staggering. So they did not retract. Of course, I mean, the pandemic, there's a huge retraction, but I think this is a shock more than anything. And to be honest with you, finance will always be needed for solving problems. So the problem solving ability of finance people is invaluable. So you want your skills will be needed if you get good on this stuff. You are very welcome. Sorry for the background noise. I'm doing this from home, and my folks sometimes, South Americans. All right, I will be available to you for another few minutes if you have any questions. The presentation is essentially completed. I said what I intended to. This is also being recorded, so for the folks who are watching the recording, please follow up by email. You saw my email address. Um, if you have any further questions. It's interesting, the numbers that I showed with the graph, they're really high, but the growth is very pronounced in Asia, as I was saying, a lot more than in North America. So that the numbers are high in North America, but if you see the membership, the current CFA charter holders, around 60% are in North America, and the rest is kind of well divided equally between Asia and Europe. But the number of candidates, the split changes around. Most candidates are in Asia, around 60%, even closer to 70%. So it kind of flips to Asia, which means that that's where the momentum is. A lot more people are becoming CFA charter holders in Asia than they are becoming in North America, but the market is still growing or still very healthy in North America. And you can see that in the, if you see the job postings, there's plenty of jobs that specifically either require or say that CFA designation is an asset. Finance jobs, right? Of course. Any other questions? I thank you for your participation and for your um, presence. And I wish you a great rest of your evening. I'm going to be uh, finishing up the presentation here in the recording and wishing you all good night.